Oh my god, we're here!
Oh! Those are there too? We can actually cap? Spells? Yeah, spells should work, I think. We might need to wait for players.
Spawn.
Can we please go back to the other one?
This one's better, bro.
We're divoting.
Oh, the carts don't move. Oh no, it's because we're waiting for players. Yeah, we'll go back shortly. I'm just trying to see if this actually works or not. Because I'm just doing a little experimenting.
This is your employer, and I've got a job for you.
Halloween is the worst time of year for this game.
That's
No.
debate. Why
So they
So
were.
it was even more unplayable with spell spam.
Dude, it makes it fun.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Here's how I cope with it. It's
Halloween hasn't been fun since
just
2012, by the
like,
way.
okay, would you rather get it crumped in
Kinda
or
sounds like a
random
cook
crit?
to me.
I'd rather get random crit because somebody didn't pick up something off of somebody else's corpse and one-shot me. So
Okay, but this person could have been 1v1ing you and then one-shot you.
I mean, I don't like a scout shooting a rocket at me either, but you know.
That's funny though.
That-
It's only around for
Or
like
somebody
30
else on an
days.
Uber, like a having random Uber, you know.
Yeah, type retry.
I'd rather not in hell yet.
Okay, so I do think I need to oh wait, nope, there's spells. There we go.
Yeah, there's spells.
The map is by default Halloween.
Okay. Alright, so this actually
That should
works.
have
That's
been a
cool.
backstab. What the fuck?
Hey guys, look, it's me, the hit rooster from Miami.
Hey guys, I'm a soldier that's
Holy
fully invisible.
crap.
This is fair and fun.
Let's go kill some drug
Whoa.
guys.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Alrighty, so I'm glad this works.
Don't do it! Do it! Oh. Continue doing it! No!
Honestly, dude, what actually is wrong with spells? There's not too much like chaotic. There's only like the master spells that are chaotic. but that's
Easy,
just 'cause
easy.
actually fucking are worth.
Yeah, I really like spells.
How do I use spells again? What the fuck?
You need a spell book, and then it's I think it's E by default or R.
Don't do it! Do it! Oh. Continue!
I'm not picking. Oh, because I have
I
it.
feel like I'm playing Overwatch with them on the spawn right now.
Okay, mine's not
Enjoy
working.
the game, man. We're not gonna be here forever.
Okay, okay, hold on. Some morale going on around. Maybe we're not gonna be here forever.
Chew the cold hard truth here. Alright, good night, bro.
No, I said like we'll have to go to bed eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got some time to spare. I can go to bed like 3.
It's only like
But I
3
got
over
work in the
here.
morning.
I hate night shift. I hate sleeping or sleeping during the day.
We're losing!
Hey, look, it even reward points for cat block. That's interesting.
Yeah, you do. That I'm a bit surprised. That's you know what? That's probably I assume that's something from Game Me that just doesn't ever happen. There's no reason to block it
Not
because we removed the
specifically-
carts.
Not specifically the server, it's a software. What's the word? A GitHub application.
Yeah, whatever it is, the specific add-on must have that default, and we didn't remove that because we removed the carts instead.
Smart.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
How could you not like it? It's got bubbles.
We've awoken the Skeleton King.
Oh, that's right, Skeleton King.
Yeah. Bosses. The other
My
one.
favorite. Fucking love bosses, bro.
This map also has the greatest spell ever, and it's teleport.
Dude, yeah. I really
Only
like the
this map.
intro.
I do not know why. Also, know how to like disable certain spells. Because that fucking bat one is just stupid. Stupid as a common.
I got no idea if I can disable them or not. I can look into it,
It's
but...
fun.
It's not insta kill. One of them insta kills, but that's just because you have to go on a small
It's fun
island
though.
to get
Insta kills. It's fun.
Yeah, man, just like you can
Bat
backstab
bombs?
someone.
Bat bombs suck dick.
They do.
They do way too much damage and throw you fucking everywhere. And common. And common. That's. I'll go with 2D on this one and say that's dumb. The spells, but everything else is totally fine.
No, it's not. Everything is stupid.
Also, can you? I don't even think you could reflect bat bombs.
That's why this is fun.
No.
No, you can't.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
If you can, I've never seen it done.
Wait, hold on. Here we. Knight. How about
Yo.
you do the fucking what the fuck? It's the fucking winter themed high tower. Shit. What is it?
Winter one?
Take it. Winter one.
Please stop
Winter one
changing
is
the map.
updated.
Let us play.
Nah, let's do all the high towers.
Is there an Easter one, perchance?
Is it Snow Tower? There's no way it was called Snow Tower.
I'm not gonna lie, Monica, you're pretty bad.
Yeah, it's Snow Tower.
And it's also King of the Hill.
Yes. That's why I just wanted.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I think they updated it too, or reworked it at the end of the fucking update to where it like works. You know what I mean?
I think so. I can, but by the looks of it, I could change the map to just about anything. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, but that, you
That's
guys stay
quick.
on Hell Tower or High Tower. Now I'm confused. Now I'm tired. God, what time is it?
Do we just want to go back to? Yeah. Do we just want to go back to High Tower?
Yes. Yes.
Dude, if only there was a way to vote. Shame there's only one thing for voting for me.
No.
Wait, didn't we? No, we already voted for this. People said yes. Never mind.
Well, yeah, we did. We
Yeah,
voted.
we
It was
voted
60. Yeah, it was 62% in favor.
Alright, well, let's do
it's-
I guess
it's
it's one round.
It's hell
Yeah, we
tower.
can do
Like
one
it's cool for like a moment, but not for long.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, Halloween is not fun for more than 30 seconds.
Alright, chill out.
The
You're
only
being
cool
a
thing
boomer.
about it is the spells and that's it. Like the actual weapon spells.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I mean, I don't like getting killed by spam constantly. I feel like I'm playing Overwatch right now.
Oh, or you can just like enjoy it.
Wow, you're pretty bad, man.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no. Really reinforcing your opinion.
Oh wow, man! I'm
Literally
playing soldier.
undercutting
That has nothing to do with the scout shooting a rocket out of his face and one-shotting me.
This is
So
the guy
what, man?
who's
Who
trying his
cares?
hardest to fucking instigate people with fucking weak-ass bait. Even if you know it's weak-ass bait, it's still lame.
I mean, I said Halloween's boring, and you start complaining about it. I don't see what
You
the issue
also
is.
said easy after the lamest kills every time.
you talking
just because
about,
you
man?
want attention. You're
What are you
fucking
talking
no
about?
better than fucking down.
I think you're mad. I'm just playing the game. Relax, man. Just stop.
That sounds like
typing
a
and stop
rage
talking
baiting
for the
right now,
game,
bro.
man. I'm trying to play the game. Relax.
Hey, is there a way
Then
to
stop complaining
verify
about Halloween though,
someone's
play the game.
account? Like as if someone came back with an alt account?
It automatically bans them for a similar IP address.
Oh shit. Alright, fair enough. Just a coincidence then.
Smile.
I mean, I'm sorry. I have an opinion. You can just mute me, I guess.
Alright, that's fair.
Not an opinion, it's just being an ass.
Or you can mute me if you don't like it. Get over it.
You're literally about 2 words away from just
You
spamming
can mute me
me
if you
more
don't
than
like it, man.
times.
That's all you have to do. Just mute me, okay?
God, he's literally just bound again. He kicked one person. Another one takes its head.
I don't know why you're getting worked up over Halloween, man. Oh, that was easy.
Dude, what the fuck is going on with my fucking wolf head?
We're behind. Fight harder, you innocents.
Run.
Wait, no, Pally.
That was boring. I don't know why I muted him.
I mean, he's not even talking. You're not missing out on
know.
anything.
Boring. Quiet, thinking, normal thinking. Have fun.
And then you complain about people talking and then you can complain about it.
I complain about shit, you complain about shit.
Oh, I thought you muted me though. Oh, I thought you muted me. What's up, man? I thought you muted me. Oh,
just
you
got done
exposed yourself.
explaining
You exposed yourself. Okay, I see it now.
Hey, can y'all
Chill,
kiss?
man.
Can y'all like
I
just
literally
kiss already?
just said, oh, it's boring while he's muted, so I'll unmute him. You're not calling shit out. I literally just admitted
Hey,
to
can you
it.
play the game and stop talking? Mute me. I can't
I think you
concentrate.
guys would make a great couple.
No,
I don't know. I guess he doesn't like the fact that I don't like
He
Halloween.
sounds like he's a top, and I'm already top.
Easy. You're so bad at this game. Maybe you should get better at this game before you open your mouth. That's just a thought.
Would you open your mouth for these nuts?
I'll use a soundboard to try to be funny. It's not 2009 anymore, man. Were you even alive back then?
As far as I'm concerned, it is basically 2009.
If you live on the internet, yeah.
Oh, big words.
Hey, was it fair that you just died to a spell right there? Was that fun?
No, I died to a fibro. You alright?
I mean, I did 90% of your health, Barney hit you with afterburn.
No, man. What shows that you assisted? That means you didn't do 90.
I mean, if you played
Wait, I
this
killed
game longer than a week, you'd understand.
I don't know. Hey, look, it's more fun this way. How about
What? Dude, Titty, you're so cringe, bro.
You play for a week.
Let me go get my cat on the mic.
Wait
Yeah.
a second. I know where this goes.
Damn you, Plutarch!
Anyway. Hey, wait a minute. This is not the power jack. This is the home record.
It's that skeleton kid!
Ah, shit. Sands.
Sans Undertale, guys.
I'm gonna say his classic Sands phrase. Ah, fuck it. I can't even do it. Anyone else can?
Like that?
Yeah, somewhat. Or less.
Reptilian, stop
Maybe less.
My brother and I call true! Shut up, Plutarch! Take my neck and kill the shit out of you, brother!
Just like Christmas in July.
I love this game.
Me too. The community is really great.
No, I mean, I haven't
You're
played
so
in a while.
friendly and
It's
welcoming.
fucking nice.
Again, if we weren't, we need a gatekeep. Shut the fuck up. We need a gatekeep. We're not gonna let this shit turn into 400k and become lost in itself.
Didn't he just say the TF2 community shouldn't be gatekeep?
Or should
No, he
gatekeep
didn't.
more?
Alrighty, I'm gonna swap this on back to normal high tower, I think.
Okay.
Finally, a real server. Finally.
Oh my god, dude. Give it up. Even I give up on shit.
Oh, I do not want to be on the team with this guy. Get me off.
Cope. That.
Oh, that's much better. There we go.
What a fine fellow you are.
This is much
Yeah,
better.
dude's so
I love
negative
blue.
for no reason at all.
I love blue team.
Hello, Sweetmeat 2. How's it been?
Who?
3, 2, 1.
Nothing to say? Okay.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you. It was someone that was just here.
What you say?
I said Sweetmeat was someone who
What?
was just
Okay, bro,
here.
turn your mic up. I cannot hear you.
And that's just genuinely boring. Retry on console.
Yeah, just retry in console.
Romania? Well, no fucking wonder. Not even connecting the same equator. Shit's called.
Ooh,
It's that
gotcha,
thing that's
kitty.
supposed to roll now. Chair sitter, you're. Oh no, it was Bulbasaur. Never mind.
What?
I was about to say something cool about maps, but it was a Bulbasaur guy.
Oh.
Get back here. Wow, this map is so boring. Why isn't it fucking Hell Tower? Wah.
You should put on the Pyroland vision.
Hey, isn't that
goggles.
instigating like you said I was doing, man? What's up with
works
that?
on this map? And kind of only this map. Maybe not even 2-4. I don't even think 2-4 works, does it?
No, for the Pyrovision stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that works.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Oh,
I'm in Pyroland
yes,
right
it
now.
does. That one does, yeah.
I swear it did. It was like one of the main
in
ones.
Pyroland.
Oh, maybe we should switch the server. Okay.
Oh man, you can leave a server instead of changing it for everybody else. That'd be better.
What?
62% voted for Hell Tower.
I'm talking
It's
about
the vocal
2-4
minority.
thing.
Just ignore them.
I mean, now you're changing the subject to something else when I wasn't talking about top, but okay.
What?
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, no problem.
old is this server anyways? 4 years? 3?
Ooh.
You're a manager. Let me speak to your manager.
You want to talk to Hamtaro?
Is that his name?
Yeah, Hamtaro is the division leader.
I've never seen that person. That's sad.
Yeah, no, he does basically just administrative shit.
Damn, sounds like a fucking job.
I make sure that the server is running fine. He makes sure that I'm running the server fine.
Easy.
Oh, big happy family. Lag, I've never seen lag before.
Easy.
Really wanted it. I didn't get it though. Hey, can you change the respawn rate? The tad slower.
Respawn rate?
So yeah, because I never get to see people's names or weapon names when I die. Just didn't
And
happen.
that's the beauty of this set. For it to respawn, and that's why people play it.
I don't know.
It could.
Like a vote. Might be a me thing.
I don't know how. I mean, I think I know where that stat is. I just don't know what to actually change it to. Then I also don't feel like restarting the server right now.
Restart the server for everything. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, come on. Full honor.
I think you're fine. Damn, he got you. Oh my god, you're so bad, bro. Easy. Sammy's a free string weapon for him. Yes, I mean.
Tomorrow, fucking quit quicken your shots. There you go. Fucking clip that. Is it 360 times 3? Alright, well, I think I've made my point by staying here for 5
Hey,
hours.
Sammy, can you hear me now?
I have contracted severe brain rot.
Yeah, man, take a
That'll
break.
happen.
Alright, see you tomorrow. I'll do it again. I can't stop. Stockholm Syndrome.
No, Sammy. Fucking nigger left. Shit.
Yo.
Seer 1. Lewin went for a carnival theme, making it a clock tower spiral thing. It's definitely unique, but the people don't seem to think the execution was good, leaving it at second last. As for the spiral's interior, Alrix used a particle from Doomsday with hazard lights up to the top, which definitely stands out against the others, which were more plain. Though I think taking the fan from Mercenary Park in Gex's version is a cool idea. In the base file, the central object here is a rocket, which free mappers decided to keep. Pugsorb opted to make it a drill, and Gex turned it into a massive ray gun, which might be the coolest. There's a strange one-off room here that holds a med pack. 2 decided to just leave it as a plain room. 2 did some light decoration on it, and Lewin didn't need to go this hard. Next point, everyone did a solid job, but hard to say that Elric's castle doesn't come out on top here. For the cave, the majority voted for Elric's yet again, who does deserve it, but also deserving of their second place, Gex's dedication to realism, with the cables coming down that holds up the floating platforms. Lewin's cave, while 4th best. I admire the dedication to the sink. The base file has a sink here which most removed, but Lewin put it on a cart, added a realism puddle here, and even a drain. Last point. Elric still won, but at the lowest margin yet. Elric's last is a nice jungle outdoor, with a simple explosion to cap it off. In second place, Lewin was the only person to make it indoors, but more importantly, real Half-Life.
It's not shutting down. It's not.
Pugsorb's last point somehow trapped half the team. But the Masher finale is genuinely a cool idea. So after every map was played, the winner as voted by the people was Elric's at a crushing 64% of the votes. Next highest being Pugsorb at 13.6%. Elric's version is now PLDBZ on the server. With that, I'm also throwing 3 more custom maps on. PL Dust Bowl, which is genuinely a serious pick. We tried it out, and it's a fun change of pace from normal Dust Bowl. A simple change of game mode makes the same mode geometry a new experience. PL Rainbow Ride, which is also a serious pick. The cart goes crazy, and the layout can be hard to grasp at first, but I think when people get a handle on it, it'll be fun. And last, PL Divulgence, a hybrid CP-PL map. Cap the first point, cart comes out of an elevator. We played these maps quite a few times already just to make sure of them, but if they suck, there will be a feedback form to get rid of them. I might end up doing more map packs like this for the server, so I set up a new pings channel in the Discord if you want to test potential new maps in the future. On stream, we added an extremely loud crock pit, but unfortunately, everyone removed it for some reason. And of course, a thanks to the mappers who helped us make DBZ look good. Check out their other stuff.
These conversations where you'd be sitting in a design review and somebody say, that's not pretty.
Outright deleting a class just seems insane, doesn't it? Wouldn't it heavily throw off game balance, changing how everything works? I wanted to see how bad of an idea it really is, so I banned Sniper and played TF2 for 3 days straight to see what actually happens. We played each of these maps before and after banning Sniper 3 times, and there was hardly a difference. The only real difference from banning Sniper was the game centralizing more around the main team fights. The most visibly obvious example of this is Upward Blast. Players normally strongly avoid this main entryway, since standing here as either a red or blue player is a very bad idea. With Sniper banned, activity along the flanks went down and players actually used the main door, making it become an intense struggle for red to maintain control and for blue to break through. This is a heat map on where players died with Sniper allowed. Compared with Sniper banned, there's more red areas and they're further in on the main entryway. This is another set of Upward, which shows the way bigger focus on this door. Along this trend, on Upward 2nd, there's 4 hotspots here, which disappear after Sniper is gone, and consolidate into one conflict here. On Badwater's last 2 points, deaths are less scattered and more focused around a central area. Swiftwater's last 3 points, same story. The deaths more closely follow the path's track. And same again with Harvest. Deaths converge much denser around the point. But this really appears to be the only real difference. I collected data on the 96 rounds we played and averaged together 5 stats. Across all rounds with Sniper, what was a class's average kills, deaths, and damage per minute? Average time played in a round as a percentage, and their average kill distance. Then compared it against the same stats, but for the rounds where Sniper was banned, and there is basically no difference. The biggest change with Sniper banned was Heavy and Soldier getting played 5% more than before. The rest of the stats are incredibly inconsequential. Heavy got 0.13 more kills per minute on average. Everyone else has a change that starts with 0.0. Same story for deaths, where the most that happened was a 0.12 reduction in deaths on average for Soldier. Change in average damage done is small, and average kill distances increased by insignificant amounts. The highest change was Pyro, getting kills 50 units farther, which is this much. For class composition, I looked at how often a given class would appear in the set of 12 classes a team would have. On average, this is how many more of a certain class you would see. At most, on blue, there would be 0.8 more spies on average, and 0.585 more heavies on red. The change in class composition with Sniper banned is not entirely insignificant, but still small. Before the experiment, I got viewers to submit their predictions, and heavy stacking was somewhat commonly expected to be a problem. In the end, the heavy uprising failed seemingly because demos, soldiers, and corners existing continue to keep him in check. Heavy stacking on the card also seems to be just good at snowballing momentum, but once the card gets cleared once, it's generally hard for them to get the cart snowballing again. If you heavy stack and add the short circuit, it does become hard to counter. But this strategy is still hard to counter even with sniper available. So it seems more a problem with the short circuit and the cart than anything particularly about sniper. So from this limited test, sniper disappearing appears to not really have much of an impact on the rest of the game. Player sentiment echoed this as well. From 70 responses after the experiment, the popular sentiment was that the game didn't really change. It just felt somewhat less frustrating. Players said they enjoyed not having to constantly worry about being exposed or standing around in an open area for too long. And bonus stat, the distribution of average kill distance. From the 48 rounds with Sniper we played, Spy averages a kill distance of 161 units. Scout is at 309, Pyro 332, Soldier 400, Demo 438, Heavy 449, Engineer 626, and Sniper 1429. For reference, the Two-Fort Bridge is about 939 units long. This is someone 300 and 500 units away from you. And this is the Sniper.
He's pretty far. We've been defeated.
The 100-player server cannot have hats. TF2 has an object limit that crashes if it gets filled, and hats count towards that. The limit is set to 2048 objects, which sounds like a lot, but besides hats, it also includes players, any map entities such as doors and capture points, projectiles, buildings, dropped weapons, and a bunch of other things. So it ends up being pretty easy to hit the limit with 100 players. Take Barn Blitz for example. If everyone fires 2 pipes each, the server dies. So we create as much headroom in the object limit as we can. Useless map entities like ropes and player cosmetics are removed, which thankfully was enough to allow basically every stock map in the game to be playable. But keyword basically, there's still a few that simply can't. Bloodwater, for example, has too many entities and crashes seconds after the gates open. But hold on, if the object limit is the issue, then just increase the object limit. Why can't we do that? We can increase the object limit, but we also can't. If you just made the number bigger and recompiled TF2, it actually works. In status, it normally reports the 2048 limit. After the edit, the change is acknowledged. But that's just a number changing. The object limit might not be meaningfully raised. The game might still crash if you go past 2048, or objects past 2048 might not work properly. So to test that, I made a massive map with 2136 train path nodes. And it went fine. I was able to load in. Plus, the train made it to the end without a problem. I tried stacking even more stuff on top of this. Even 32 players, and it still works. Out of morbid curiosity, I tried creating 11,000 path nodes, but Hammer had trouble compiling the map. I cut it down to 7,723, and TF2 ran it. So it just works. But there's no way it's that simple, right? Surely there has to be a catch somewhere. I spoke to Gmod developer Rubat, who has updated the object limit for Gmod before. They said that updating the limit itself isn't difficult, but doing so means more data has to be sent to players, and servers would need to do more processing. So the real question is if servers or players can handle it. I also spoke to FiCool, who you may recognize from bug fixes. They played with TF2's object limit before, and only ran into 2 problems. Demo recordings that were created before the object limit change would break, but demo recordings made after the change were fine. And second, TF2's rendering crashes when 10,000 objects are on screen, so that also requires a fix, but that was it. So it's time to add this to the server then, right? No. If I patched the server to run with a higher object limit, TF2 on your computer will crash. This is because the object limit is relevant on both ends. The server is in charge of simulating the game and keeping track of every relevant object. But your computer also needs to keep track of where the server says objects are to show you what's happening. When your computer thinks they only need enough space for 2048 objects, and the server gives you too many objects to keep track of, you simply don't have a place to store any more info, and the crash happens. We could fix this, but it would be a program that players download to patch TF2 to increase the object limit on your end, which means genuine risks of being VAC banned. Even if we assume we can't get banned, what happens when people put up fake downloads of it? And I'm now responsible for people getting their computers hacked. All that, plus needing to keep up with TF2 updates and bugs that might arise, players not wanting to download stuff just to play, and players being perfectly fine without hacks, which is the main thing we're getting out of this, makes it really compelling to just not open that can of worms.
And the problem with lots of interesting things is they tend to have exponential painful.
Summer update, bug fixes, me explain. This seems to refer to a new check done from the player's computer. Every time a new player joins the game, your computer checks if the server has more than 33 players. If a 34th player joins, you disconnect from the server and get put back in the main menu. On day 1 summer update, trying to open the achievements menu would crash your game instantly. This seems to be because of a null pointer error. Basically, when you click on the icon, the game starts loading a bunch of data to then show you. One bit of data it was trying to load didn't actually exist, even though the code promised there would be data. So the game doesn't know how to deal with this and crashes. The fix was to simply make sure it's not an empty promise first, before jumping into loading it. There was a bug where the MVM upgrade menu would close every time something party related happened, including receiving a party invite. This was abused to basically make it impossible to play MVM. Now it's fixed. Normally, if you open the contractor menu, your character will take out their contractor and look at it. When you close the menu, they put it away. But if you open the contractor, close it, then taunt, you would get stuck in the contractor animation while still being able to play the game normally. For the most part, this isn't a problem, but it was bad with Sniper. For example, Badwater. Other players can't see you. When you finish a high 5, you regain control again almost instantly. But Engineer would take some time. And now, it's still the same, it's not fixed. On release, The blue spawn on Cashworks didn't stop you from simply walking in. This was a problem with every door. The problem was that the spawn room wasn't marked as blue only. There are two components to a spawn room: the box that marks the spawn room's area, and the stop sign that appears. The stop sign is the wall that actually stops you, but it makes that decision based on what the box says their team alignment is. The box was marked as a spawn room for any team, presumably because the mapper forgot to change it, so the stop sign didn't try to stop you. The spawns have been correctly marked as blue only in the new version. There are cones here that, if it got on the tracks, would jam the cart. The map was updated to set the cones as non-collide. Every time the point is capped, this seagull will go fly around. If you were standing on the seagull when this happened, you could ride it. The seagull here is technically an invisible train that you can stand on, and the update made it non-solid. You can place a teleporter to get out of bounds here. On release, the map actually already had an instant death and no build zone here, but it wasn't big enough. The update makes them bigger.
Team Fortress 2.
What do you think happens if I jump at this sign? Hit it, then fall down, right? So why does this happen? Dynamic props. A prop is a model placed into the game world. A dynamic prop is also a model placed into the world, but with the extra ability to move around or play animations. They are used for things like trains, the crocodile, or this fan. These props also have the ability to be set as solid or not solid. Sometimes they might impede gameplay. If this bush could stop you, it'd be really annoying. So mappers have the ability to mark any prop as not solid. Our sign of interest is a not solid dynamic prop, which starts off working fine. You jump into it and nothing strange happens. It's later when the first point is capped that it starts acting weird. The problem is the way the sign is swapped out, so the arrow points the other way. There's actually two separate props here. One sign that points left and one that points right. When the first point is capped, one of them gets hidden and the other visible. The problem here is that on top of making the new sign visible, the Valve mapper also included a second command to turn the sign's collision back on to solid, overriding the original setting for it to be not solid. But logically speaking, even if the sign is set back to solid, that shouldn't mean you get stuck in it. So what went wrong here? When the game loads the map and starts spawning in the props, if a prop is dynamic and it's set to be not solid, the prop is given the solid ob solid type and marked F solid not solid. F solid not solid is used to tell the game that players shouldn't collide with that prop, and at this point, it does correctly ignore player collisions. It falls apart when the sign's collision is turned back on by the map when the first point is capped, prompting the game to remove F solid not solid from the prop, leaving it as just a naked solid ob you can collide into. Normally, this just means that collisions are back on, and you start bumping into it, and that's it, no big deal. But solid ob is self-emitted in the comments written in the code by Valve developers to be not implemented yet. Busted. And one of the ways it's busted is in how it's handling collision. When you're in motion, the game basically checks what's going to happen to you one tick later. If you're about to hit a wall, it finds out how far you can go, and put you just before you would clip into it. Solid Ob actually carries out these calculations correctly, but there's literally just one tiny detail that the Valve developers forgot. When the game begins to calculate where to stop you in the next tick of movement, it first ticks a checkbox that tells the physics system you're stuck inside something. It then proceeds to do a bunch of math to figure out where to place you, such that you don't get stuck in the sign, and stops there. It forgets to untick the checkbox indicating you're stuck, so you're not even truly stuck, so to speak. The game just has a delusion that you are. So that's why the sign has super glue on it. They mark you as stuck and forget to undo it. But thankfully, the game has a safety net that sets you free after some time, so it's alright. Except it isn't. If you jump at it from below, you'll never be freed. You actually must get a heart attack to resume playing the game. When you're stuck, the game starts checking if you would be freed if you were to be nudged in different directions. Just down, then just up, then left, then right, etc. At first, these imaginary test nudges are only by 0.125 units. Then it escalates to, what if we move you up by 6 units? What if we move you different combinations of left, right, forward, back by 2 units? If it finds an answer, it executes on that plan. If not, it runs this in a loop from the same starting position, hoping the next time it checks, the result will be different. In total, it only ever considers the possibility of freeing you through a downward nudge once, and that's by 0.125 units. That nudge is too small to clear a 1 unit buffer in the code that checks if you're stuck in an object, hence you're here forever. This issue affects every dynamic prop in general, so there's actually 2 other broken props on Upward. This sign that appears at the end of the cave, and this sign here outside of last. Unticking the stuck indicator is literally 1 line of code, and if I add it in, the sign's collision works fine and I don't get stuck. Alternatively, Valve could also just edit the map to not send that command to enable the sign's collisions, which works too. If Solid Ob is busted, why use it? In the code for setting up dynamic props, they wrote a comment which basically says that the reason for using type Solid Ob is due to dynamic props being able to rotate. And Solid Ob has extra code implemented that makes the hitbox of the prop rotate correctly. If we use Solid B-Box instead, this appears to be true. The sign's hitbox always faces north, and we can visually phase through it. But if we use Solid V physics, it seems to work fine. So this kinda looks like a case of old code that got left behind, and Valve forgot to update it when they later created V physics. Plus, besides dynamic props, Solid Ob is never used anywhere else in the code. The one other thing that uses Solid Ob is the dispenser's screen. And finally, what happens if you fall on it? Nothing special, just hold away and you'll be free.
Really worrisome. We end up stuck.
On November 4th, TF2 secretly got a massive update to its map-making tools. It wasn't mentioned on the patch notes. Instead, it's hidden here in the beta tab, vscript test. But what is vscript, and why is this such a big deal? TF2 maps are created using a program called Hammer. Hammer gives you the tools to do fancy things, but these fancy things have to be done through its very restrictive logic entities. They're basically predefined building blocks that carry out one specific action. If I wanted to have a door that opened after 2 shots, then closes after 5 shots, there isn't a existing logic entity that can handle that, so you would need to build it out of smaller logic entities that you do have. So first, you need a counter to count the number of times the button has been hit. Then you need to create another entity to take the counter's number and see if it's greater than 1. When this condition has been met, you then feed it into another compare entity, and this time, check if the number is less than 5. Finally, you can trigger the door to open. You might think that this isn't so bad, but this is the mess needed to simply control the respawn times on player destruction. If scores are equal, it's 6 seconds. If the difference in scores is less than 50%, it's 8 and 4 seconds. Greater than 50, it's 12 and 0. For something so simple, you need this chunk of logic to track the score of each team. This guy to signal when the scores are even. This guy checks if one team is more than 20% of the way to winning. This guy calculates how big a team's lead is, but doesn't actually know what score is for which team. So it simply yells, "The lead is big," or "The lead is small." These guys listen for that announcement, and finally, appropriately adjust the respawn times. So this is one part why VScript is a massive improvement. VScript allows you to directly write code. Instead of hacking together logic entities to perform 1 plus 1, you can just write a few lines of code in a VScript file and save hours of pain. But it gets even better than this. TF2 has been updated to let VScript files access almost anything in the game. Previously, mappers basically only had access to changing game rules and spawning objects. Things like the cough timer, if the intel is neutral or team specific, spawning health packs and Halloween bosses. That's about it. With VScript, it's easier to describe what you can't do. The only restrictions are memory access and blacklisted console commands that mess with the server, like crashing it or changing its name. In just 2 weeks, since VScript became a public beta, TF2 mappers have already created some very cool things. But there is an elephant in the room. All of these things could already be done with source mod, so what's the big deal? The big difference is that VScript is seamlessly packaged into the map file. Source mod plugins can't be packaged with the map file, so it's always an extra thing you have to download and know how to install. Having everything bundled into the map file means distributing your map can be done entirely through the Steam Workshop. And if it can go on the Steam Workshop, it can be officially added into casual. If you enjoyed Crasher last Halloween, imagine the crazy new game modes community mappers can get officially added into the game. Valve would never add a map that required a source mod plugin, but VScript, that's no problem. So that's why VScript is honestly probably one of the biggest updates to TF2 ever. To end the video, here are a few clips of what people have done with VScript in other Valve games. Oh, and they also fixed Funk Monitor.
Cool technology.
Patch notes can be hard to understand, so here's an explanation of the more technical changes we had recently. Every cosmetic is assigned a equip region. This occupies the back region. This occupies the face. Valve didn't want us to wear 3 shirts at once, so the game restricts you from wearing multiple cosmetics of the same equip region. You can only have 1 cosmetic from an equip region. But there are 2 region classifications that have extra rules. Glasses, besides being unable to be worn with other glasses, is also unable to be worn with face or lenses cosmetics. Whole head cosmetics, besides whole head, also conflicts with cosmetics classified as hat, face, or glasses. Except, this extra rule about glasses or whole head cosmetics doesn't get enforced if you equip your cosmetics through Quick Switch. Quick Switch was created when only 2 cosmetic slots existed and never got updated to acknowledge the third. So you can equip a whole head cosmetic in your third slot, and use Quick Switch to equip a hat, face, or glasses cosmetic in your first or second slot. You still can use 2 cosmetics of the same equip region, but the extra rule is bypassed. On September 26, Valve updated Quick Switch to now enforce these extra rules. This fix was controversial because many expensive unusual cosmetics had their value predicated upon the Quick Switch oversight. 2 days later, Valve walked back on it and unfixed Quick Switch, stating that they will evaluate the situation. If you, as the server, wanted to tell the player that the map spawned a portal next to them, how could that be communicated? One option is to send the entire file name of the particle to players, but this would be very inefficient and a strain on internet traffic. Instead, TF2 uses tables. When the player first joins the server, they are sent a table of particles. When the server wants to tell you about a particle update, all that needs to be said is a number. Your computer can then look up the particle on that row number and do whatever it needs to do. Maps, notably Halloween ones, often use custom particles to make the maps more visually interesting. So when you load them up, the map would add their custom particles to the particle table. The problem was that the server wasn't clearing the table between maps. So if you loaded up one Halloween map, then another, and another, the table would eventually hit its limit, meaning TF2 had no room left to track particles. This leads to the exploding red crosses that show up, which is the particle equivalent of the purple, pink, and black when there's a missing texture. The server is trying to tell your computer to render a particle that doesn't exist on the table, so the fallback is to render the red crosses. This issue has been fixed by having the server properly clear the table between map changes, but the size of the table has also increased. When you die to a headshot, rather than ragdoll, sometimes an animation will play. This animation is supposed to render where you die, but sometimes it will happen at map origin instead. TF2 uses 3 coordinates to track where you are, and map origin simply refers to the point where all 3 are 0. If you had more than 60-ish ping, the server would mistakenly overwrite the position of the death animation, causing it to teleport to map origin. This has now been fixed. This also fixes backstab and energy weapon death animations, since they all use the same system. This patch doesn't fix the other issue where players would very briefly appear in your face when they died though. For Jungle Inferno, Pyro got a new melee weapon, the Hot Hand. it's a glove that goes over the pyro's right hand. Presumably, to avoid clipping, they gave the pyro a new hand body group, which basically means they can hide and unhide his right hand in the game. In the process of doing this, they cut off the tip of the pyro's middle finger. So now after 5 years, his fingertip has returned. Except, this body group isn't even used. If you no-clip inside the hot hand, you can see the pyro's original glove still there. So the pyro's fingertip was cut for nothing. The Sydney Sleeper used to have red darts in first and third person for both teams. 12 years after its introduction in 2010, the darts can now be blue. Weapon scripts define several attributes of a weapon, one of which is what sound it makes. Flare Gun Revenge is the Man Melter. In its weapon script, there used to be an extra entry for its reload sound. So this patch removes this extra line. Except, none of this matters. First, the game only acknowledges the first instance defined, so this second entry for the reload sound is already ignored by default. Here I changed the shotgun reload sound to the gravity gun. Now if I define another reload entry here, nothing happens. Second, the Man Melter doesn't technically reload. Similar to the sniper rifle, the Man Melter is like a minigun, just that each shot takes a long time. Reload in the context of weapon scripts refer to reloading a clip, and the Man Melter doesn't have a clip. So even if weapon scripts don't ignore the second entry, it still wouldn't make a difference. Though to Valve's credit, removing that line did save us on 38 bytes of storage. Maps have the ability to apply conditions to players, such as giving them Uber or crits. One condition is being gassed, which didn't make you burn when shot at. This has been fixed. They also fixed what happens when a map puts you in a bumper cart. Before, it used to snap your point of view elsewhere, but now it maintains your direction. Func No Build is a tool mappers can use to say where engineers shouldn't be able to build. This update allows no build to be initially inactive, then active after being triggered, and destroy any buildings within its bounds. This is used for the update to Upward. On Upward, after the third point is capped, this shortcut is closed. In the past, if you build a teleporter here and the door closes, it becomes a one-way door where it will open for players who teleport in, but not anyone on the outside. Now you can still build a teleporter there, but when the door closes, that space gets marked as no build, and any buildings in that space will explode. Though if you somehow get into that space after the door closes, it still opens for anyone trapped inside. This basically allows maps to change a player's model. TF Logic CP Timer is basically the system that allows maps to associate a countdown timer with a control point. Previously, this only worked for red control points, so if you flipped the team colors on the Groot Keep, the map wouldn't work. Now the timer can be applied to control points of both teams. They didn't claim that this would work, but neutral control points with timers are janky.
Release me.
TF2 recently fixed a bunch of bugs, but the patch notes aren't always very understandable, so here is a quick video to go through some of the recent changes. When you hit enter, your cursor goes to the next line. Behind the scenes, the line break is represented by a special character called New Line. The new line character was used by cheats to push all the past messages out of view, effectively clearing the chat box. The new line character is already blocked from being used when you use the chat box, but cheats directly send data to the server without using the chat box, getting around this filter. The chat box is like a middleman who does all of the filtering, so the TF2 developers never thought to make the server double check the middleman's work. The new changes basically also get the server to double check messages for characters they should filter and gets rid of them. Players who try to send new lines to the server will also get muted until they disconnect. In testing what did and didn't get fixed, I found this other way to break the chat box. I have reported it to Valve. SV cheats control whether cheat commands can be used. There's two types of cheat commands. Local cheat commands, which only relate to how you see the world, such as turning off the entire HUD so your sniper scope disappears. And server cheat commands, like giving yourself permanent Uber and crit streak and no clip to fly through walls. Custom HUDs had an exploit that let you turn on SV cheats locally. You couldn't go into Valve Casual and turn on permanent crits for yourself, but you could go into Valve servers and use wireframes. This has now been fixed. If you change class or loadout in a spawn room, instead of dying, you get instantly respawned. If you pressed yourself against the enemy's spawn room and changed loadout or class, you would get instantly respawned back at yours. This fix checks to see if you're touching a spawn room that belongs to your team before respawning you, so you can't respawn using the opposing spawn anymore. Sniper moves at 300 speed. When you charge the Huntsman, your speed dips to 160. But if you use a loadout preset bind, you'll keep charging your bow and stay at 300 speed. This fix forces you to lower the arrow when you respawn, so you have to charge it again, which correctly slows you down. When you play Engineer, you don't need to use the PDA to build a sentry. You can instead use the console command build 2-0. This will immediately bring up your sentry for placement. Similarly, the Spy Sapper is technically a building. When you use the console command build 3-0, you bring up a sapper for placement. The Wheatley reskin would trigger a voice line whenever that console command was used, which lets you sit there and spam voice lines.
Yes! Woo! Oh, woo! Done!
This has now been fixed. I honestly thought this was intentional, but apparently not. The dispenser used to be able to heal through glass, and now it won't. Whenever you disguise as Spy, it would summon an invisible box that would block bullets. The fix turns the box spawned by disguises that blocked bullets into non-solid objects, so they stop interfering. The Halloween characters used to be affected by your interpolation settings. If you used Interp 0 or other modified network settings, the skeletons will look choppy. The fix improves the skeleton animations. I personally use CL Interp 0 with Interp ratio 1, which isn't completely fixed yet. If you disguise as a class with a shotgun, but the other team didn't have someone playing those classes, the disguise weapon would break. This has been fixed. The crossbow would sometimes miss if you were too close to your teammate. The patch has fixed short-range crossbows. Back in June 22nd, 2021, they added a feature to block players from changing their names while connected to casual. Apparently there was an exploit that got around this, so name changing is properly blocked now. In MVM, some of the class icons that would appear at the top would be super blurry when you used a lower texture detail setting. This has now been fixed. When you trigger the dead ringer, the match status at the top used to not pretend you were dead, now it does. If you decloak early, the match status updates accordingly. But interestingly, the match status seems to follow your speed boost rather than the cloak. So if people were timing how long your cloak was, it can still technically give you away. If you're programming TF2, how would you know ahead of time what to put in the cloak cam for the killer's name? You can't. So instead, they put placeholder text that tells TF2 to dynamically replace it with something more appropriate. In certain circumstances, it wouldn't work, so you just see the placeholder text. This patch fixes this issue. Previously, when you got kicked or banned from a server, it would just say client disconnect. This was fine for Valve Casual, but community servers wouldn't be able to include information about what you were banned or kicked for. For example, community servers might kick you for having a low Steam level. You would just see client disconnect, rather than a more helpful message. This has now been fixed. The Manco catalog has a dropdown to filter what items to show. There used to be an option for headgear, which is now gone. This command allows you to set a limit for how much time a particular player can occupy the server. Many exploits to crash TF2 servers in the past revolved around one player sending a ton of data to the server, which eventually crashes the server because there's too much data to handle. This command protects the server by putting a limit on how much data someone can send the server and kicks people who send way too much data. This is a command that basically asks the server for a record of internet activity, so server operators can investigate anything strange. Transparent models in TF2 have had issues rendering behind other objects. This has now been fixed. This change basically improves hit registration on the soldier's wing, so hitting your teammates is more reliable. When you try to hit someone, the game first checks to see if you've hit the bounding box. If you did, only then will it check which hitbox you've hit. This is most problematic on Soldier, who can stick out far beyond his bounding box in certain cases. This has now been fixed. In menus, models that jiggle around using jiggle bones were broken. This is now fixed. Because of some oversights in coding, the Iron Bomber had a hitbox size larger than any other pipes. This has been corrected. The shove has been changed to credit the scout player instead. In order for your computer to stay in sync with everyone else, the server has to send you updates on what's happening with different objects in the game. Previously, the server was sending updates about objects that didn't matter to you at all. It was only relevant to the server. So this patch has trimmed out useless data being sent. It's like having less cars on a highway. Removing useless data makes room for other things. When you get further away from an object, you can't see its details, so game performance can be improved by reducing the texture quality on that object as you get further away from it. Pickmip is a command to control the texture quality of an object at its best. When TF2 first released in 2007, Pickmip was allowed to go up to -10, which rendered textures at the best quality possible. This was silently limited to -1 in 2010 when Valve released the Mac update. Allegedly, picnics higher than -1 would cause TF2 to crash on the map, which is why this was done. This seems to be true because within the leaked source code, the material system had a comment stating this: Mac users are currently running out of memory, which crashes the game. For now, we limit texture quality to high while we come up with a real solution. As always, Valve is just 2 steps ahead of everyone else. In 2010, they already knew that Macs would transition to Apple Silicon in 2020, which won't be able to run TF2. So they simply wait until this happens, then let Picnic go back to -10. Absolute masterminds.
Hi, my name is Gabe Newell, and code SCARY.
This is Player Destruction, an official TF2 game mode. Kill a guy, pick up his stuff, and turn it in. But this game mode wasn't even created by Valve. It was the work of an amateur mapper making something in his free time. How did we get here? I interviewed the creator, Egan, who traced the origin of Player Destruction to Arena. Back in 2014, he was a big fan of Arena, and frequented a community server devoted to it. But he started to notice its flaws. Dying and having to wait for the next round wasn't fun, and it's not friendly to inexperienced players. So how could you take what's fun about Arena, the intimate player interactions, and make it more accessible? What if Blue had to attack Red's control point? Blue players get passive healing, and if a blue player dies, we spawn a skeleton and start a timer. The skeleton would hunt down players of any team, and the timer counts down from 30 seconds. When it hits 0, all dead red players are respawned. This map was novel, but ultimately a gimmick that got boring after a few minutes, so the experiments continued. Okay, what if blue players only had 1 life, and there were only 4 of them, but they had 10 times health, backstab protection, and infinite crits? Blue team has 1 minute and 30 seconds to capture 4 control points spread around the map, but red team would infinitely respawn. This was also fun, but still, just a gimmick that would quickly get old. Back to the drawing board. Later that year, Valve released Robot Destruction. Robot Destruction was a new game mode created by Valve where you basically run into the opposing team's base and destroy their NPC robots for points. At first, Egan tried twisting the game mode to create a 5 CP map that required teams to control every point to win. The catch was that after a certain amount of inactivity, robots would spawn on the point, which you needed to destroy before you were allowed to catch. This experiment wasn't that great, but in the process of creating this map, he noticed something. You could repurpose Robot Destruction into a bootleg Headhunter mode from Halo Reach. In the past, this wasn't possible because there's no way to emulate the item that players drop on death. But now, mappers can spawn robots and control how many cores they drop. Mappers can also keep track of a player's location and detect when they die. So when someone dies, you could teleport a robot to their location, then kill the robot, dropping a core the player can pick up, which would effectively be a scoring item that drops on player death. Normal robot destruction ends when one team reaches the core limit, so here the game would simply end after enough cores were collected from player deaths. To see if this would even work, Egan created PD Nucleus. It's Nucleus, except the bridges never extend. The central point doesn't open, the death pit has been covered up, and of course, it's pseudo Headhunter. Teleporting robots around and killing them turned out to actually work in practice, and PD Nucleus was positively received, so it was time to make a real map for it. At the time, there was a TF2 Maps.net contest called Mercs vs Aliens being held, themed around UFOs. Entering the contest and submitting a PD map would be a good opportunity to have people play and critique the game mode, so he started work on Watergate. Watergate's layout was heavily inspired by this area in a Dishonored 1 DLC. I don't think I need to say anything else. He added a boat here because it was, quote, cool. Also, this lumberyard staircase and these pipes for Watergate spawn. From there, he built out the rest of the map. He enjoyed the way Arena Granary made use of verticality, which inspired the layers in Watergate. He made the cores into piles of cash, and experimented with a bonus objective, a control point that if you capped, dropped extra cash for your team. Since this is an earlier version that's still constrained by simply being a really weird robot destruction map, the UFO that came around wasn't a capture zone, but instead it would barf cash onto the bridge. It could also suck you up. On November 26, 2014, in collaboration with Macro Backstretch, who helped with detailing, Watergate Beta 5 was finished and submitted to the contest. After great suspense, Watergate was crowned second place. The contest ended, and that was the end of Watergate's story. Egan went on to make a few more maps, until suddenly, in January 31st, 2015, every map submitted to the contest was given feedback by Valve. It still wasn't officially confirmed that this contest would be part of an official update, and technically, Valve simply played everyone's maps and wanted to give feedback, for some reason. But you don't have to be a detective to put 2 and 2 together here. It was time to revisit Watergate. Unsurprisingly, in their feedback, Valve was perplexed about the robots and asked why the map was running robot destruction. At this point, the PD game mode was entirely controlled in Hammer, which severely limited what Egan could do. To further refine PD's mechanics, it would need to be turned into a source mod plugin. So that's what happened. With the plugin, they were able to add a lot of features. Player score display, by making 100 custom particles that go from 1 to 50 for each team. The UFO capture zone, and with that, hazard scripts on the HUD that indicated a team's capture potential, created by editing the robot destruction reactor core data. Changing the robot destruction core into beer. Beer because, inspired by Dishonored again, Watergate is themed as a distillery and bar. Detecting if players walked into a spawn room, and forcing the beers to drop so players couldn't hide. And of course, team leaders. In a previous version, Egan gave team leaders a makeshift outline. Leaders would be given an invisible reactor core, so everyone could see them through walls. But since you're technically carrying an intel, players could simply press the drop intel button and remove their outlines, so this was shelved early on. With the source mod plugin, team leader outlines returned. For the secondary team leader mechanic, several ideas were tested. At first, they tried allowing team leaders to see everyone and their squad through walls, and later, only your teammates through walls. But in the end, this was deemed too much visual clutter. Other experiments for team leaders they tried were more max health, which was shelved for being too confusing for everyone. Marked for death, removed for being too punishing. Low gravity, removed for basically helping the leader abandon his team. High gravity, removed for being too intrusive on movement like double jumps and rocket jumps. Eventually they settled on what we have today, team leaders getting a dispenser. As for the rest of Valve's feedback, they remarked that the control point was confusing, that some of the smaller spaces could combine into a continuous one, and that some areas could be expanded. So that's what Egan did. Beyond that, Valve had some compliments for the map. From January to August, 65 more map versions on top of Beta 5, and the plugin by Wigooch, Watergate was finally complete. They sent the map and plugin to Valve and waited. After a month of exchanging emails back and forth, Egan finally got a confirmation. They did it. Watergate got accepted. But there was one more thing he needed to do. Obviously, Valve wouldn't run a source mod plugin when they could just add code to the game. So for 2 weeks, Egan had access to a private TF2 beta where he helped Valve implement player destruction officially.
Hey Valve, it's Egan on PD Watergate. So it's 7:40 AM 9/16/2015. I found this little strange bug. Hey Valve TF team, this is Egan on PD Watergate, September 21st, 2015, 2 o'clock PM. I found a bug on the UFO tractor beam water condition thing. When it's about to leave, at the end, if you hold space as it's departing, then you just continue to swim. You can go through water and it still stays on you. I guess it's not the same property.
There were about 8 betas in the span of these 2 weeks, where the first week was Valve implementing the game mode, and the second week to weed out bugs. On October 6, 2015, the Invasion update was officially released. Of the maps included with the update, there it was.
Hi, my name is Gabe Newell, and welcome to Watergate.
I got my viewers to suffer through 72 games of 100-player class wars, and turns out, Spy is awful. Medic is somehow better than 3 actual combat classes, and the best class is somehow not Soldier, not Demo, and not even Engineer. Here's how it went. Starting at the bottom, Spy. He has no wins, and all there is to analyze is the intensity and rate at which he lost. Group 1. Classes he had 0 chance against. This is Soldier, Pyro, Demo, and Heavy. There's actually nothing to say about this. He is entirely outclassed in DPS, range, and health. It is genuinely very challenging to be alive for more than a second, let alone possibly cap the point. He gets spawn camped so badly that we started to watch Beat the Team videos and puke into the mic for any kind of stimulation. Group 2. Classes that still demolish him, but at least he gets to walk around. This is Scout, Engineer, and Medic. For Scout, he technically wasn't spawn camped, but he basically was. Every path out was blocked. A good proportion of Scouts also ran Milk, so they got their health back if they ever somehow took damage, which made it even more unwinnable for Spy. The Spies never camped once. You might think the Spy has a chance against the Engineer, but he actually lost it 3-0 both rounds. The problem is that he dies either to the Engineer or the Sentry. If you focus on sapping, the Engineer kills you. If you focus the Engineer, the Sentry kills you. There's no way to handle both at once. In practice, players try to focus on sapping, but even in last-minute pub pushes, the Spy just dies too quickly, and the sapper isn't powerful enough. Against Medic, he gets rolled 3-0 still. The Medics can out-heal his damage output, and the syringe gun is also good enough. The one matchup where Spy could even cap was Sniper, but even then, he lost with at least a minute left to go both times. Spy's problem still seems to be damage output. Snipers ran the Huntsman, SMG, Girardi, and Bushwhacker, which the Spy's revolvers and Dead Ringer just couldn't keep up with. But that's also it for Sniper. They don't have a win besides Spy. though they are marginally better. Instead of being hopeless on all but one matchup, Sniper managed one more matchup that didn't end in a stomp. Against Heavy, the Snipers were actually able to control the main stairs and the escalator, getting their time down to a respectable minute. But for whatever reason, they couldn't deal with underground pushes, and Heavies won the best of 3, abusing that and Fist of Steel. Snipers were able to cap against the Engineer as well, but it doesn't really count. Every class except Spy could cap at least once against Engineer. His strat revolves around building up at the start, then inching forward to secure the win. When the Engineers started advancing, the Snipers could not deal with all the sentries. The third worst is the Scout. He basically has no wins, since the only 2 he has are the 3 wins on Sniper and Spy. The losses against Heavy, Soldier, Pyro, and Engineer were simple. He just has less health and damage output. His best performance was against Demo, but even then, he never scored more than a minute. They went stock Demo and Demo Knight. Stock Demos constantly spammed the point, making it impossible for scouts to approach and survive enough to cap. Demo Knights then defended the stock Demos, so there was basically nothing scouts could do. Over 2 rounds, they managed to cap a total of 3 times, all of which were won through constantly bashing against it to very slowly cap the points. Alongside Sniper and Spy, Scout somehow lost to Medic, who is the 4th worst. Some medics fought with the syringe gun, but Medic basically won in peaceful protest. They simply healed faster than Scouts could damage, so they sat on the point for 3 minutes and won. Round start demonstrates this well. The kill feed is just empty until blue meds get bored and start killing. Sniper and Spy went the same way. And against the other classes, Medic can't out-heal or out-damage them. So far, everything makes sense, but in 5th place is Demo, which sounds really wrong, but it actually makes sense. Against Engineer, he can't play the video game. Pyros press W and win. Against Heavies, while Demo can match in damage, he gets outclassed in range and health. With how many Heavies there are, it's actually a viable strat for them to just tickle you to death from across the map. Then any damage taken from spam gets cancelled out by eating. Demo does beat Soldier though. The 2 classes are pretty equal in power, but the difference maker seems to be stickies. After Demo wins the first fight, they just sticky out every entryway and Soldier can't get a foothold. Demo is the 5th worst, but 3rd best. Soldier, Engineer, and Pyro are in a 3-way tie for 2nd place. Pyro beats Soldier, Soldier beats Engineer, and Engineer beats Pyro. Against Soldier, you might assume Pyro's win comes down to the air blast, but in practice, Soldier's problem was simply being overwhelmed and mobbed with too many Pyros to deal with. When 4 to 5 Pyros run at you, you just die. The air blast does help with spam though, and it made holding onto the point easier. Seeing Demo lose to Engineer, it seems fair to assume the Soldier would also lose, but he actually wins. The difference here seems to be range. This crossroad is what naturally emerged as the Engineer setup spot to build up, then push up the stairs or through the underground to eventually win. But Soldier's range is oppressive on every entryway. Stand on roof to spam bus. stand on roof to span other side of bus, push this flank to span bus, and same with the underground's sightline. With pressure from all these angles, the short circuit couldn't deal with it, and the engineers couldn't get set up to execute on their strategy, losing 3-0 twice. Against Pyros, they tried to rush in immediately and stop them, but engineers can build way too quickly, so it didn't pan out. The sentries obviously outranged Pyros, so engineers slowly inched forward and won.